Lost World Minute, the Minute by Minute podcast reviewing the 1997 sequel to Jurassic Park, 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're discussing minute 11 of The Lost World. David, how have you been?
I'm good. I have a guy who does modeling with Horizon replicas. He's making me a replica of the bull T-Rex from the Lost World Jurassic Park, the maquette that Stan Winston Studios created. Well, he's going to make me a replica of that maquette, which has got me really excited.
Ah, that's incredible. Because as we know, I've been going after the Chronicle T-Rex, the Breakout T-Rex, and there's been some grumblings this last week. We've seen a picture of what we're told was one of the final production figures getting out into a collector's hand, and some of the paintwork on it wasn't what we'll think it was going to be.
No, it wasn't. It looked kind of. If you ask me, the paint on it was way too. The colors they're using were too deep, and they're kind of creating these over-exaggerated lines and detailing that just did not work for it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think that Chronicle has cracked down their quality control issues, and the stuff that were coming out now, the lines are more subtle, the detailing is more subtle, and it really, really works for the model. And I've never been happier to be wrong. When I first heard that Chronicle was coming out with the models, I was really excited. I looked at their stuff that they were already doing with Terminator Genesis at the time,
mm-hmm.
and I knew I'd never be able to afford any of it. But but I wanted them to succeed because I love this franchise, and the Bull T-Rex bust that they put out really kind of disappointed me because the detailing and the color palette just was not right. But the Breakout Rex bust or statue that they've come out with now is just spectacular. It looks great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that same thing like some of the original busts and that I wasn't 100% with the colour. Even when this photo from this collector started coming out. Now It was sourced from an Asian distributor, wasn't it? Wasn't there something there?
Yeah, someplace out in China or something like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't actually from the stores that Chronicle were getting in their warehouse. So there was something going on there. Whether it was an actual Chronicle product.
Well, now I'm hearing that while they still had the same painters that those earlier models were doing, they're actually going to open up the boxes before they send them to check them personally for quality control, and before they send them out to customers.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's good on Chronicle's part.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, like they've got the license there. The only ones really going full bore into the Jurassic franchise. Yes, you got some third-party companies doing their own sort of stuff, Paul Elder and that are doing their own products, but Chronicle got the license. They're going into all this. They're only supposed to be doing Jurassic World stuff, but to go back and do a lot of this Jurassic Park and Lost World stuff as well, it's good. It's expensive, and it is for those collectors with a bit of a higher funds to waste or spend. But most of their products, from what's been seen so far in production, have been quite well. And as soon as I get this Breakout T-Rex paid off, I hope to go and get the male raptor bust from the Lost World.
Oh yeah, that one looks good too. And I recently saw some factory production pictures of the Jurassic Park Velociraptor, the female
mm-hmm.
bust, and that one looks beautiful. The pictures weren't that good, but you could tell. So the bust didn't look good, but it was didn't look good because of the picture.
Yep.
The actual bust itself looked really, really nice. The paint was on spot. The detailing was on spot. It looks really like a really good piece from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I have big expectations from Chronicle now.
Yeah, especially they're starting to show more photos of the juvenile raptors as well.
Mm-hmm. And production pictures of the Lost World Stegosaurus maquette also came out, and
mm-hmm.
if you ask me, the plates are way too brown. It's got more of a Jurassic World look to the plates, but the body, the original prototype, I felt like the green paint on the body was too strong. But the production pictures now of the actual maquette that's being sent out, the green is a bit more subtler. So, and it really, really works for the new maquette statue.
Have they
And
actually titled it the Lost World Stegosaur?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so
It's to be a replication of the Stan Winston Studios maquette.
okay, so they're not just using the Lost World design maquette and putting a Jurassic World paint job on it and selling it as a Jurassic World one.
I don't believe so.
No, okay.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about it from the world of statue news at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get into this week's minute?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. As the 10th minute of the Lost World ends, Ian Malcolm helps Hammond out of the bed. At the 10-minute mark, Hammond continues with how he wants the most spectacular living fossil record the world has ever seen. At 10 minutes and 2 seconds, John and Ian begin walking towards Hammond's desk. Ian asking, "What, people?" At 10 minutes and 10 seconds, Hammond boots up his computer and shows Ian a map of Isla Sorna. Satellite infrareds have shown the carnivores to be in the centre of the island and how the team going to the island will stick to the outer rim, where he presumes they'll be safe. At 10 minutes and 22 seconds, Hammond tells Malcolm to trust him and that he's not making the same mistakes again. Ian replies, No, you're making whole new ones." At 10 minutes and 30 seconds, Malcolm puts his hands to his face, dumbfounded by this whole situation, and he goes into a recap mode. So there's another island with dinosaurs on it, no fences this time, and you want to send people in. Very few people on the ground. And who are these 4 lunatics you're trying to con into this? At 10 minutes and 42 seconds, Hammond confirms that it was difficult to convince him in the first place, and that in the end he had to use his checkbook to get him there. At 10 minutes and 49 seconds, Hammond starts naming off the other 3 members of the team. Nick Van Owen, the video documentarian. Eddie Carr, the field equipment expert. And as the minute ends, Hammond puts third member's file under his arm, saying that we have our paleontologist. And this ends the 11th minute of The Lost World. One thing we haven't sort of talked about yet, with these scenes and what's happening in Hammond's study, bedroom, office, all in one, is his health condition. Laid up in bed, he's got got an IV line there and some monitoring equipment.
Oh yeah.
Now it's never actually stated in the film what's his condition, if he's just a bit sick in his old age or if there's actually a serious condition here. Because you'd think it'd sort of be more of a reason for Ian to help him out if he was on his deathbed or something like that.
Well, they never actually mention it in the script either. They just say that he's kind of getting old and he's dying and that he's not doing too well. In fact, the original ending of the script had involved Hammond's funeral. In the first draft of the script was Ian Malcolm delivering a eulogy at Hammond's funeral.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more of this later on in future minutes with that original script parts being left in and not being excised, and just the plot not going anywhere or nothing happening out of it. Because the way he's up out of bed, even though yes, Ian helps him out, but he's quite easily walking around his computer, talking. Like it could.
You can also kind of tell he's leaning on that cane of his a little bit more than he was back in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
He's kind of dependent. In Jurassic Park, you almost felt that cane was more of a showpiece than an actual cane. In The Lost World, you feel like he's actually using the cane a little bit more to walk.
Yep.
At least that's what I get from it. It may just be me interpreting Attenborough's acting.
Yeah, he did just get out of bed too. You don't know how long he's been in there.
Yeah.
Legs are asleep.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. We sort of come in, we see all this equipment. I know in the fan community there's been talk about maybe he's got cancer or something like that, but nothing's ever really explained out of it. So yeah, he's just being treated for an illness, old age illness or something. He might have a flu but then most of them things it'd put you talking off if he was suffering them. But this is where we get a little bit of a cut scene. Cut for time.
Yeah.
Cut for time. You have the link, and we'll put that up on the Facebook page when this goes up this week.
Mm-hmm.
But you found that cutscene on YouTube.
Oh, actually, well, yeah, I found it on YouTube, but I was pointed to it by a guy named Jamie Arnold. His YouTube name is J Arnold. He posted it up on YouTube. He found it. He had an old Betamax of all things. It was a promotional Betamax cassette where he found it. It was, and I have no idea how he found this Betamax promotional thing, but it was on there, and he shared it back when the old Jurassic Park Legacy website was still up. And so what it tells us is it basically later on, and we'll talk about this in the minutes coming up here, is that Ian Malcolm mentions that there's 4 members on the scene. He says, and how did you con these 4 lunatics into this? And without this deleted scene, you don't know how he already knew there was 4 members going in there. And Ian Malcolm kind of jokes in the scene about how four average guys, you should be sending in the National Guard here. Which is always kind of funny because of his experiences in the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and it also sort of includes the start of the computer scene, Hammond booting the computer up and bringing up the map that we see here in a minute. But, it is interesting, and yes, I never actually thinking about it. You never actually realise that Hammond doesn't say how many people he's sending or anything. It just out of the blue, Malcolm's 4. Who are the 4 people? So, and it's just another one of those little bits that were just cut for time. It sort of doesn't really, or it does add to the scene, but.
Yeah, but that's really the Lost World, if you ask me. The movie was just cut up so much that you really don't get those kind of like little nuances. Like you don't get the nuances of Ajay and Roland. Ajay just kind of gets delegated as some side character to Roland, and other small little things about characters. Ludlow is painted as a bit of an alcoholic in the deleted scenes in the script, which you don't really get so much in the final film. And it's just these little nuances about the characters that you don't get. So the Lost World was either had to choose between pacing and better characters, and it was obvious which one they chose in the final cut.
And we get the computer screen here with the satellite infrareds. Our first look at the movie version of Isla Sorna, showing off Triceratops, T-Rex, Gallimimus, and Pachycephalosaurus.
Which is interesting because these thermal signatures are all over the island.
Yeah.
And so, which indicates that the island is really a much bigger place than we see, because there's this prop map that everybody likes to use. It was really the kind of best map that was really ever out there for the movie. But the thing is, the map was changed in the final version of the movie, and so because this map represented an older script of the movie where they had the extended village chase and they had the more buildings in the village.
Yep. And
it's kind of based more around that. This older map was based more around that older script, and so once the new script came out, Spielberg or somebody must have said, "Wait a second, we got a whole different script, we got a whole different layout of Isla Sorna, so we'll need a new map." And that's what we see on the thermal signature. And the thermal signature maps is the same thing that we later see in the trailers, which is the same thing that we later see on the screens in the engine encampment on Isla Sorna.
Also, interesting too, when he goes over, he's got a photo of Tim and Lex on his desk.
Oh yeah, he does. It's those little features, little details that really make this movie, I think.
Again, never even noticed that before. Or the either the big bit of ivory or whalebone or something he's got there as well.
He also has artwork by Douglas Henderson covering his walls. One of them is artwork of a Stegosaurus herd in a creek bed, in a redwoods creek bed, which is foreshadowing of the scenes that come later. It also has the one where the 2 allosaurs are attacking the Apatosaurus. and he's got some Jurassic Park The Ride concept art in his office, along with original Jurassic Park concept art. So it's all those little nuances and things around the office there I feel like really bring the movie to life.
Yep. Alright, so we've got the four lunatics, and he starts reeling them off. We've got Nick Van Owen, who's a video documentarian. Eddie Carr, which is a field equipment expert, one name we know from the novel. And the minute ends with him putting another folder under his arm, saying they've got their paleontologist, so he's trying to hide something there.
Yeah, I like how he just sticks that under his arm. Oh, don't worry about the paleontologist. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Yeah. And that whole scene too, like he's standing there, he's got the cane under his arm, he swaps the cane out for when he puts the file there, but again, like standing there, presumably in good health, but yeah, so Nick Van Owen, we don't get to see him for a few more minutes, but Vince Vaughn straight off the set of Swingers. I suppose we'll get to it in a later minute, but Steven Spielberg went and seen the premiere of Swingers and thought that he wanted Vince in a movie, and here he is. Interesting too, we get Eddie Carr from the novel, not as the sidekick to Jack Thorne, but as Jack Thorne himself, it seems. Yeah. Although we don't, even when we get to the warehouse scene, we don't even see a sign saying Carr Field Systems or anything like that, so that could have been another little Easter egg they could have thrown in just to do it. And the paleontologist, he's being coy with it. Were we ever thinking it was Alan Grant?
Or somebody that he doesn't want Ian Malcolm to know about.
Yeah. All right. Well, I suppose we'll get more into that into the next minute. Is that all you've got? All you want to discuss for this one?
Yeah, this sounds pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good length there.
Too easy. All right, we'll get out of here, and we'll be back next time with minute 12.
All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
Contact details are on the website, thelostworldminute.com. You can email feedback to thelostworldminute@gmail.com, Facebook, The Lost World Minute, Twitter @thelostworldminute, and Instagram, The Lost World Minute.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, very easy to remember. David, thank you for joining me for this record.
Welcome.
And we'll be back. I've been Brad.
I'm Dave.
And we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way.